Hi, welcome to Purposeful Piano. My name is Esther and I am a Suzuki piano instructor. Assuming you visited my website and you might be interested in starting Suzuki piano lessons, I have a list of 4 things that I wanted to go over that would be good just to consider before diving into lessons. Before you watch this video, I would recommend checking out my previous video about the Suzuki philosophy, just so you have a good understanding of what the method entails. You wouldn't want to start lessons if you do not think you would like this method or that it would be a good fit for your child. You might want to find a different teacher. So assuming that you've already watched that and you're somewhat familiar with the Suzuki method, let's dive in. So number 1, do you have an instrument? Seems basic, but if you want to take piano lessons, if you want your child to take piano lessons, you need to have an instrument to play on. So things to consider with this: an actual real acoustic piano is preferable. I encourage everyone to have a real acoustic piano. So behind me I have a Yamaha upright. I love Yamahas. Other good brands include Steinways, Kawais, there's Kimball's, there's lots of different brands of pianos. I'm a bit partial to Yamahas. And the second option, besides having a real acoustic piano, is having a keyboard, an electronic keyboard. I don't recommend this as much. I find that students who start on keyboards just don't seem to get off to as good of a start. The 2 main differences between an acoustic piano and an electric keyboard are that the sound is just so different. When you actually have a real piano, you have real strings and real hammers that are hitting the strings. You're producing an actual real tone in the moment. With a keyboard, it's just a recording. So, some keyboards you can still play softer or louder, but every sound you produce is pre-recorded. So you're not able to really change the tone or the sound of the instrument by how you play it. It's been pre-played already by someone else. However, if you do not have the money for a real piano or are not looking to invest in that, keyboards can be an okay alternative as long as you make sure that they are full length. That means they have 88 keys. That's the total number of keys, including white and black keys. 88 keys. It needs to be full length, and the keys need to be weighted. What weighted means is that there's some resistance when you press down the key. An acoustic piano has some resistance. If you get just a cheap keyboard that has no resistance, no weight to the keys, then it's going to feel like a completely different instrument. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's almost a completely different instrument when you play it. And so that just makes it really hard if a child has to switch back and forth between a super light touch and a weighted touch. It just makes it almost impossible, and it doesn't give them a very good advantage or a great start, or a fair start. They're having to practice at home with one sort of feel, and then they go to a recital and have to play on a weighted keyboard, and it's just really hard to make the switch. So be consistent. Either have a keyboard with weighted keys that's full length, or have an actual acoustic piano. I definitely recommend the acoustic piano. And there are used options. You can search for a used piano that would be reasonably priced. Okay, number 2, do you, the parent, want to take lessons? Okay, I get this a lot when I will meet with clients and, say it's a young child, 4, 5, 6, and the parent goes, oh, Johnny just really wants to, and so I just want to see if this is something he likes, so we'll give it a try, and they're maybe thinking week to week or month to month, and it's all based on little Johnny and what he wants, and I really recommend, if it's a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, even 6-year-olds, at that point, your enthusiasm as a parent goes such a long way, and if you want them to do something, at that age, it needs to be your desire and your motivation that we are going to start this activity and we're going to give this a shot. So don't put too much at stake with what your 4, 5, 6-year-old wants day to day. That's going to change day to day. Not a great measurement. So I usually say try to commit to a year. Try to have a year in mind. If we're going to try this for a longer period of time, because everyone's different, and it can take a longer amount of time to see progress, see results, and everyone is different, so having that commitment is important. Also not great for the child if they feel like, oh, one day I can just be like, I don't want to do it anymore, and quit. Not awesome. So number 3, do you have the time and desire to work with your child? If you've watched my previous video about the Suzuki method, when we're starting younger children, you know, anywhere between 4 and 10 usually, the parent is invaluable. They are so valuable with being at the lesson, watching as the, you know, quiet observer in the background, taking notes, and then working with the child at home. You as the parent are just so important. A 4-year-old isn't going to remember what they need to practice, so with you being there with them, you can totally give them a huge head start. If you do not want to work with your child at home, you know, you just want them to be independent, which is fine, some people prefer that, then this method probably is not a good fit. And also, if you don't have the time, you know, if you're like, I just don't have time to devote to this in the day, and you really need to kind of think of being able to devote a half hour, 45 minutes to this in the day. Even just blocking off an hour in your mind that I have this time every day. And if you don't, then, you know, it's not really going to be worth time and money, because the results won't be super awesome just because you won't have the time to really put into it. Number 4, does your child want to do piano lessons? And I know I just got done saying it doesn't matter, but with younger children, yeah, it's more the parent. But when if you have a, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, especially preteen, teenager, then at that point they need to be interested to some extent. They need to be motivated. If they have no interest, maybe reconsider whether piano is something they should do or whether you should wait a little bit. Maybe they want to come and observe some lessons just to see if it's something they're interested in. But with a preteen, teenager, definitely need to want to do it, because at that point you're not going to be practicing with them a whole lot. They'll be mostly on their own, and they need to have the motivation on their own. Number 5, and this one's really important. I saved it for last, but just consider how many activities your child is already involved in, and how many activities you want them to be doing, how many activities your family's involved in, all the other siblings, because there are only so many activities one family can do. And I feel like there is sort of an idea of, I want my kid to kind of do everything and be super well-rounded, and while that has some merit, if you do tons of things, you can't really do any of them well. And so if you really want to have fun at piano and succeed, you need to have the time to practice. So if you already are doing 3 sports and ballet and all, you know, like, that's too much. I would say 1, maybe 2 other activities, but even if piano is your only activity, that's going to be your best shot. You can definitely do other activities as long as you know that you have that time every day to practice. And so that's just a really big consideration, not to overbook yourself. That way you can really enjoy music. It's not fun when you come to a lesson unprepared because you haven't had time to work on anything. Like, no one enjoys that. So in order to really have fun with music, you just want to make sure that you have the time in order to really benefit from it. So those are the 5 tips that I have for if you're considering starting lessons. I would love to meet with you. Feel free to reach out to me through the contact form on my website, purposefulpiano.com, and I'll see you later.